Tell them who we are.
Right, I believe we are, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on.
Hey folks, welcome to UGG TV. Coming to you from the banks of the big swamp in the back here, where all the alligators swim around, and building inspectors and city mayors and environmental people, all of them swim around back there.
They all converge here, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and that's where they all land. We want to welcome you here to UGG TV here in La Follette, Tennessee, US of A. That's in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's where it's at, Tennessee.
Yeah, in Tennessee, where we were. Knoxville was one of 14 metropolitan areas in the United States, only 14 that gained employment during the last quarter.
Well, how could that have been?
Well, I don't know. I guess, you know, it depends on who's doing the counting.
It could have something to do with it.
Right.
Well, I know what it is. There wasn't no job here in the Follette, and what few they had left, so they had to go to Knoxville and hunt one.
You know, they were, again, they had something in the La Follette Press commending the number of jobs that was being created over here in Anderson County.
My boy lost his job today.
We're doing what?
He was working on this project over there for Y-12 through UT. He got sequestered.
Did he?
Yeah. They cut off the thing.
Right.
I don't know.
What were they studying? The private parts of a duck or what?
No, they were doing a Homeland Security training computer simulation deal, and some of the people working on it had quit other jobs to do it, and some of them were using it as part of their work study program. Their grades depend on it.
They what?
Their grades depend on it. They got sequestered.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think.
But they still getting the funds to do the turtle tunnel down in Florida, I reckon.
Right, and also.
And these guys are putting these signs up out here that ain't nobody can figure out what they mean.
You know, that's true. And I guess also that they're going to continue with the Obama golf tournaments.
Well, yeah, we got to have them.
Right.
I mean, he don't spend much money. We do gardening.
The answer to drilling in Anwar.
What's that?
You have a Tiger Woods golf tournament up there in Anwar. Because he's drilled all over this country, I don't see why he wouldn't do some drilling there in Anwar.
If they'd require all government vehicles to be powered by domestic oil, they'd drill up there because they wouldn't let Air Force One stay parked.
Right.
But what do we know?
Yeah, I mean, who are we to say?
Yeah, we're just hillbillies. You know, they having some sort of a thing. Obama's working on some deal to teach kids how to save money and to budget and everything.
How is it? Budgeting with...
budgeting with Barack.
No, it's budgeting 101 with Barack, actually, but they call it budgeting with... it'll come to me in a minute. But it's absolutely ridiculous for him to teach anybody how to budget when he can't budget himself. It's almost like the head of the, what is it, not Federal Reserve, but the...
Security
Secretary. The one that couldn't figure his own taxes.
Treasury.
Geithner.
Treasury.
He was the Secretary of Treasury, and he had to go get one of these computer programs to figure his own taxes.
And he done it wrong.
And well, he said it was an error. I suspect it was more or less like an intentional oversight, because it amounted to $20-some thousand additional taxes from
I could owe that a whole lot.
Yeah, I said that right. So, you know, we have definitely, in our national government, we have the monkeys running the zoo. And,
No, I wouldn't put that off on monkeys.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Now, on the local level,
Yeah. Now, you know, they said they had this space program going,
yeah,
and they wanted to send a monkey up,
yeah,
and they wanted to send a politician up.
yeah,
And so they got the crew ready, and they put the monkey in charge of the space program, of the space shuttle.
yeah.
And they'd be cruising along up there in the outer atmosphere, and the monkey would open up his suit, and he'd look in there at his instructions, and
Yeah.
he'd push whatever dials and buttons needed to be pushed.
Yeah.
And so every time he'd open it up, politicians tried to look over and see what it said on that sheet of paper. And the monkey's kind of careful about keeping it to himself, and he'd read the sheet of paper, then he'd push the buttons, you know. So there's up there several hours, and old monkey kind of relaxed, and he opened up his paper there, and he was going down the list of things, checking them off that he'd done, and he come to the one he hadn't done, and it says, "Time to feed the politician."
Oh, well, you know, they started sending lawyers up instead of lab rats because they found out them lab rats wouldn't do just anything. There were some things they'd refuse to do.
Right? But not a lawyer.
No, no lawyers.
Folks, if you're watching us over there, and you know Timbuktu got liberated.
I don't even know Timbuktu. What's his middle name?
Well, I think Buck is his middle name. Tim is his first name, and Two is his last name.
Is that T-U?
Yeah, Timbuktu.
Okay.
And yeah, Timbuktu got liberated from the Al Qaeda.
He's a Southern boy, ain't he? Tim Buck?
Yeah.
Yeah, like John, what is it? John Dan and all them there, Billy Bob and all them people.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Timbuktu, and I'm sure they're over there watching us on the internet. Did you see those three boys that marched 1,000 miles, walked 1,000 miles? They crossed the Congo River.
No.
They crossed the desert. They finally got to a refugee camp.
Just to see us?
Huh?
Just to see it?
No,
Okay.
well, let me see. They probably were. But, one of the reporters that was there at that refugee camp when they came as small children is still reporting. You know, it's like 20-some years ago. Well, he did a follow-up on those three, and they came to the United States, and they just got made citizens a couple of years ago, I think it was, and they were singing the praises of America. You know, they weren't burning the flag or anything like that. But their mother that they had not seen in probably 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
they had internet at the local police station. And they got to talk to their mother, and she got to see them, and they got to see her. You know, what do they do? Call that streaming? Is that what you do?
I guess.
Yeah. And I thought that was real good, because one became a medical doctor, one became a priest. Let's see, what did the other one? The other one was fairly prosperous.
Anything but a lawyer or a politician.
Yeah, it wasn't a lawyer or a politician. I mean, he had him an honest job. And, you know, they came here, they had not a penny in their pocket. They were so frail and thin when they got on that old DC-3 and left that dirt runway over there in Africa. I bet their legs wasn't that big around, you know.
You know, Carnegie.
Huh?
Andrew Carnegie got here with just a few cents in his pocket.
Yeah, I know he did.
He done all right.
And so did the guy that started the hotel chain, Hilton. Yeah, he was an immigrant.
Well, I've got all it requires to be famous,
me too.
then.
I mean, I've started with nothing.
Yeah, I've got a few cents in my
and
pocket.
I am still eligible to become something.
Yeah, I'm just clay ready for the forming.
Well,
Speaking of clay, there ain't nothing beats concrete when you talk about clay.
right. That's a concrete with a big, bright, well-washed yellow truck.
Yeah, got the
And,
Dixie cross on it.
Right, there you go. And they bring what they say they're going to bring. It's got the hardest concrete known to man.
Hardest concrete known to man. Dixie Concrete for all your concrete needs, and they got
You can't beat them.
everything to do with concrete plus a complete septic systems if you want to
Right.
get fixed up to septic a little.
Right. Well, you know, I used to put in them complete septic systems.
Well, that explains a lot.
I always, and then when I finished, I cut a half moon in the door.
Yeah.
That was a complete septic system.
That's the kind of septic systems we had when I was going to school.
Yeah.
Had one out at the bottom of the hill, one up the top of the hill. And guess who had to go to the top of the hill?
Boys.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you heard that Jack and Jill went up the hill then.
Yeah.
Each had $1.25.
And what?
Each had $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50. She think they went up there for water.
Hmm. Folks, this is not Red Skelton. This is Bob Andrews. What else is going on,
Bring
Bobby
it
T?
on.
What else is going on, Bobby T?
Well, I don't know. You know, let me tell you. You know, I'm bad to say what I think.
I know.
Maybe when I
Sometimes when you don't think, you talk too.
Maybe when I shouldn't. You know, but the other day I let this lady that works for me drive my truck to the post office. Well, you might have known she got stopped right after she crossed Cumberland Avenue.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't know that the registration card and the insurance card was in the console. It's got a glove box on it, but she thought I had it locked, but I just can't get it open. It's stuck shut, but everything was in the console. So the officer wrote a ticket up, no brake light, the one brake light down, and no proof of insurance or registration.
You get more trouble than anybody I know of.
All right, I went down to see him. I said, well, did you search the vehicle? He says, no. I said, well, if you had, you'd found the registration card and the insurance card in the console. He says, well, you can go up there tomorrow, Monday, and show them that you replace the bulbs and take proof of insurance and everything. And I said, you mean you stopped her over a tail light? As many vehicles run around here with no headlights, no tail lights, no windows, no nothing. It's dangerous just to have one tail light on the back of the vehicle. I said, I know. I said, that's the reason all them motorcycles have got two.
What'd he say?
Oh, he didn't know what to say. Well, you wanted to ride around the bar? I said, no, not really, but it just seems like real odd. You know, you can't even send somebody to the damn post office for what they don't get stopped for some violation. I said, I used to laugh at those people over in Russia in the 50s when before they could go to one section of the city or the other, they had to make sure they had all their paperwork in order. If not, they got stopped and they couldn't enter that section of the city. I said, it's just about that bad here. I said, you can't ride up and down the road what you don't nearly get run over either by the Follett policeman, a Jacksboro policeman, a Caryville policeman, a county sheriff, Tennessee Highway Patrol, or a game warden.
You know, I hadn't thought much about that till you got talking about it, and I got to noticing I don't ever get out there. I see at least two cops of some kind.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
And you can't lay down. You can't lay down a horse biscuit without somebody is deciding whether they're going to steal it.
I know that. That's true. I said,
that ain't food, by the way.
All you do, I told him this, like I say, I'm bad to say things
No.
when I'm not supposed. I said, all you do is seam this highway for a fee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's just dangerous. No, I said, yeah, I know. I said, it's a rough, rough life out there apprehending all these criminals. I said, if you get off of Jacksboro Pike sometime, you might catch somebody. And he didn't like what I had to say, but I said it anyhow. So I go to the AutoZone down here, and I buy 2 light bulbs, which ran me almost $6, you know, $5 and something tax. I come up here and I back my truck in, and Chuck says, which lights need replaced? He said I had a brake light out. He said, well, crank it up, you know, and hit your brake. He said, all of them are burning.
Mm-hmm.
I said, they're all burning? He said, yeah. I said, let me look and see. So he got in there and he put his foot on the brake, and all the lights come on. I said, now.
Tail lights work?
Oh, everything worked. All the lights worked on the back, see? And there was a brake light that he said she'd only had one of.
Yeah.
Well, I had two of them. Both of them were working. So I go up Monday. This was on a Friday when you get the ticket there, and then they were closed for Good Friday.
Yeah, and then you got to be mad all weekend.
So I go up Monday, and I take my receipt where I bought the bulbs, and I also took the bulbs. I said, now, everything was working on that. She said, oh, you probably had a short. I said, yeah, I probably had a short, all right. I said, probably somebody just didn't see that other tail light. Oh, no, they're trained. I said, yeah, they're trained to do exactly what they do. I said, that's why they ticket. And so she said, were you supposed to have all this with you? I said, it was in the console of the vehicle. I said, it was in there. So she said, well, gave her proof of insurance. She says, this lady who's driving truck says she'll have to bring her insurance up here. I said, she doesn't have any insurance. I said, she's driving on the insurance on my vehicle. Oh no, she will have to show proof of insurance, or that she is on your insurance policy. I said, I don't think so. I said, she's wanting to pay $20 fine for that light.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'll just wait and go to court. She said, well, you can't go to court for her. Said, it's her ticket. I said, well, I'll see that she is properly represented. So, you want to catch that UGG TV?
UGG TV.
Hey.
Hello, Ronnie.
Hello there.
You and Bob sounding awful good this evening. Sounding intelligent and everything.
We are good.
Yeah, we're good.
And intelligent and everything.
Did you get another Krauthammer ticket?
I didn't get one yet.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you an update on the drone situation in case you missed C-SPAN news this morning.
Well, I missed it, but I want to get one that'll shoot bald-headed men.
Well, they tell us this morning on the news on C-SPAN about the drones, they only weigh 4 pounds, and they can sit on your windowsill and eavesdrop on you and tell everything that you're telling to whoever's listening.
Well, I hope they get Bob.
Well, I thought Bob needed to know that for sure.
Yeah, he's been known to stir up trouble.
I'm just a troublemaker.
I guess maybe I thought everybody else thought like I did. I thought a drone was an airplane, but come to find out they're about 4 pounds, and they can use them to deliver pizzas with.
Yeah.
They can use them to deliver drugs.
I heard that FedEx and UPS is going to start using them.
Well, if we ever want to go into some kind of delivery business, we'll have to get us one.
What I've got to deliver is better done in person.
Well, you're not up with the latest times, I guess.
I've been behind for a while.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that Bob knew that there might be a drone sitting on his windowsill.
That might be watching him, man.
You don't reckon. Well, they'd be foolish to do that, because there's another thing I would say in private I wouldn't say in public.
You know, somehow now I believe that because I've heard you. I'm glad to see you all on the air this evening. I just thought I'd check in and tell you the latest that I know.
Well, we appreciate it.
Right, we thank you, hon.
Keep up the good work, guys. Bye.
I don't know about the good work, but we'll keep it working. Bye. We won't be here next week, at least I won't, unless it's a pre-recorded version, which it might well be, and I guess that's what we'll do. Cause
Yeah, we'll probably do
I'm
that.
going summers next week.
Right, and you know,
So you're going to court?
well, yeah, I told myself let's see what Wes has to say about this.
I'll tell you what I'd do.
What?
It's $20. I'd demand a trial by jury.
Can you have one on $20?
You can if it's a federal offense. I think state it's got to be $50, but you can ask him what's the fine usually for not having insurance and tags,
Right.
and if he says so and so, I want a trial by jury.
Right,
Just do it and see what happens.
right.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with you. You're supposed to have a trial by your peers.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they can find any.
I don't know where they can find any of yours, that's right. Well, I don't know, but this fee grabbing is not deterring crime.
Well, the thing about it is, you know, I can understand making you have tail lights. I have nothing against that. But to think they got nothing else to do but sit down and wait for somebody to come through that's got a tail light out.
Was it that old truck yours with the hood but the tree fell on?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's wrong with it. They didn't stop it because there's anything wrong with it. It could be perfectly legal. It just looked like they might find somebody with something wrong
Well,
with it.
also you had a girl driving it too. Okay. More women get stopped in this town than men.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I do know there's a lot of fee grabbing goes on, and crime as far as theft and stuff like that, it's worse than it's ever been.
Well, they don't make anything. They don't make any money off of catching
I know it. They
criminals.
won't even investigate a theft.
I know that. I have 2 thefts at my place in which the culprit was identified in both cases. I have 3. I have the one the boy that stole the gun and money out of my car. That was turned in. That was inside the city. I've never heard anything about that.
Maybe you ought to call the mayor. He's our friend. He'll do anything for us.
You know what I get out of that?
Yeah, you get locked
5
up.
to 7.
Yeah. Hello, 5 to 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 3 thefts. The person known, provable, he has admitted it. Stole the gun, money out of my truck. Pulled up, loaded up 9 or 11 tires. I got it on the board up here. They were witnessed and identified by the lady sitting right down here. Nothing. Never hear anything out of it. Broke into my motorhome, stole a pistol and a laptop, pawned the laptop down here at a place that was known to be pawned by a known person, the one that broke in. Heard nothing on that either. But yet they can stop my vehicle for supposedly having tail light out.
And by the way, technically, if you had a short, you'd blow a fuse.
Yeah.
You might possibly have had an open circuit, but I don't believe that because, well, you could possibly have one brake light work.
What?
You could probably have one brake light work, but if you've got a signal light out, they won't flash if you've got a signal light one side
I
out.
know that, yeah.
Well, you know as well as I do that there wasn't nothing wrong with the tail lights.
No, because we come right down here, when I come back from my truck, I went right and got 2 tail light bulbs. I still got them. And backed in there to put tail lights in. There was no brake light out, no tail lights out.
You've got enemies in high places. I tell you what, if you'll do, if you get you some of them there propane tail lights and let Digger Wilson fill your
You can
tank.
run propane, tail lights off propane.
Well, I'm sure you could. Might take a little while to light sometimes, but Digger Wilson got
Every time you got ready
propane.
to stop, you have to go back and light a light.
Yeah. Digger Wilson, Sawmill Holler, middle of the road, 562-5444 for all your propane needs.
And we're going to go back over this again tomorrow night on Channel 12.
You mean about the propane tail lights?
No, about my difficulties.
Oh yeah, your difficulties. Well, I suppose that could possibly be grounds for entertainment because everybody's going to laugh at you.
Oh, I know that, you know.
You
And
can't.
I told him, I said, and this is true, you know, we have more police.
We're better protected than anybody in the
Yeah,
world.
we're the best protected people in the world per population. I know we got a big area to cover, so I mean, if you got one patrolman up in the Duff area, then you've got one sheriff per 500 people, you know, or 300 people. I understand that we've got so much area to cover that we're going to naturally have to have a larger percentage of manpower than you would in a concentrated area. But at the same time, I don't see any reason when you got all of these areas out in Montana and Wyoming and out there where it's sometimes 100 miles between houses, why we would have more police here per population than anywhere else in the country.
We just got a lot of people.
Well,
We just ain't got many people.
We got a lot of protection.
Yeah, I feel safe. I don't feel too safe not locking my car and leaving an armed guard with
No.
it, but other than that, I feel pretty safe.
Right. I mean, I feel absolutely perfectly safe with all those policemen running around as long as I got my pistol.
Yeah, if you got your pistol, you're all right. Of course, if you drop it in the floor, I don't know about that.
That's bad to scare politicians off. Isn't it?
Yeah, you know, that's still floating around on YouTube.
So, you know, I know how we can make $1 million.
How's that?
If we could get the contract to provide the tires and the gas and the maintenance on all these law enforcement vehicles that run up and down Jacksboro Pike.
Yeah?
You know, I saw a man that claimed to be indigenous, could not afford a lawyer.
Indigent.
He signed a paper, and I saw where that year that he declared himself with no money, had done $56,000 worth of work for the county.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I have the paperwork that shows that. I have the paperwork where he signed that he couldn't afford an attorney, that the county had to provide one for him. And I've got the paperwork where that amount of work was done on county vehicles. I don't know how much he did on city vehicles in 1 year.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's amazing, ain't it?
It's amazing. Some people can do that, and then some people can't even get by with a tail light that works.
That works. Yeah, one that can't get by with one that works.
Right. That's rough.
Yeah, well, I guess you'll have to give them that $20 in court cost. Why would she have to have insurance if you had insurance to cover it?
She says, I can bring it up on the computer and show you where somebody's driving a vehicle. They got to have insurance. I said, that's never been that way. But what I did, I had them add her to my policy. And I asked him, I said, well, she'd been covered, she'd had a wreck, sure. She give her permission to drive the vehicle.
Well, now, does that mean that these here cops have to have their own insurance before they can drive cop cars?
Looks like they would.
I believe they would.
Yeah.
I'd check into that if I was you.
Yeah.
Because if you find one that ain't got insurance, he's in trouble.
I'd write him a ticket.
I would. Citizen's arrest. I'd cuff him, search his car,
Yeah.
call the dog.
I'll get a man who was a family man, still a family man, was coming from a Little League game, got stopped right out here in front of this building. His wife pulled in behind him. They were frisking him and had him up against the car and everything. He hadn't done anything but was speeding. I don't know if he's speeding or what stopped him for. Nothing much. And his wife got out raising Cain because, you know, they had him all up against the car and frisked him and everything. They knocked her on the ground, cuffed her, 2 kids, one in his car and one in her car, and hauled him off to jail for resisting arrest. I don't know what in the world they were arresting him for to start with, but it's a pitiful statement of what can be done to an average citizen.
Yeah, I know. But you desperados, you just have to live with it. You get involved in your desperate ways.
Why don't you come to your senses?
And quit singing. That's that battle care. If you get to wanting to ride to the hospital instead of jail,
You can get one mighty quick.
yeah, go
Here.
562-9370 for all your.
I mean, you can get the need to go to the hospital right quick around here.
We recommend Vital Care. If you don't know Vital Care's number and can't remember that 562-9370 number, call 911 and request Vital Care. Now, if it's
Bestest ride you'll ever get.
yeah, they'll take care of you. They're good people. Ain't they, Bob?
They do me. They did me.
They pumped that motor juice out of you, didn't
Right. It's just like how glad people were to see them guys ride up with the white hats
they?
on.
Yeah.
Man, when they come up that Vital Care ambulance, I sure was glad to see them.
Well, you got the Volkswagen running yet?
He's charging the battery right now.
I'll be listening.
I hope you can't hear it down here. He seems to think it's going to run okay.
Well, it wasn't out of oil then.
Huh?
It wasn't out of oil
He
then.
said he said it had about a pine in it.
Well, you might be all right. I don't know. That Volkswagen ain't been too serviceable, has it?
175,000.
Yeah, but how many times you worked on it?
175 times.
Of course, I guess you can't count that motorcycle run over it against it, can you? It's bad when a motorcycle runs into a car and tows the car and the motorcycle rider don't get hurt.
He took off, called a ride with the guy that works for me, and he thought he was just walking, and he found out what he did, that he was running from police. He put him out. Okay, he left his helmet in his car.
Yeah.
He gave me the helmet, and his boss man, which is John Morton's boy, told me he wanted his motorcycle. I said, you can have his old helmet, but I never know what happened to it. I don't know what happened to it. I had it for a long time. I didn't want his old helmet.
I guess he's afraid to come get it.
Right.
Well, I can remember when a Volkswagen had hit an American car with them Beetles and it'd just tear the car all to pieces, and that old thick shell Volkswagen would just chug right along.
Yeah.
They've gone down in constructural integrity.
Right, yeah.
In structural integrity.
Right.
Oh well.
I used to sell them little old Volkswagen Rabbits, and they were built pretty good. You know, the old Ford had the gas tank behind the rear axle, and the Volkswagen had the in front of the rear axle with protection, and also the little Rabbit on a front end collision was built where the front would hinge down and the motor would drop down, and it wouldn't go through the passenger seat and hit the people in the car.
Well, them are Chrysler K cars that Lee Iacocca
Right.
built and got out of the bind with. They had a Volkswagen Rabbit motor in them.
Yeah, I know they did. The little Omni, that was one make of them, was a Dodge Omni.
May have been.
Yeah, and oh, they're good little cars. I tried to give a man $800 for one not too long ago.
They where'd you get your parts for your Volkswagen?
I got some at AutoZone, some at Advance.
Why didn't you get none at Napa?
Huh?
Why didn't you get them at
Oh,
Napa?
I didn't get anything but when I say I got parts. I got the oil filter down there. I got the other stuff at Napa.
Napa's a place to get your parts.
Yeah, that's where I got it. You know, other than just I have to run out and get a tube of
Glue?
silicone or
Yeah.
something like that. You know, I just run right down the street here. You know, but if I have to have some major parts for anything I'm driving, working on,
With good quality backing.
I go to Napa. They've got access to over 250,000 parts within their own inventory system, and they probably got the ability to pick up another 1 million different parts from other people. Anything from 48 farm-haul tractors to lawnmowers or whatever you need.
562-9406 if
Right.
you want
That's
Call
Napa
'em
Auto
up.
Parts. You can't beat them. Randy's very knowledgeable and knew exactly what I needed. Says, I'll have it here for you in the morning. And he did.
to. He got out from Germany, didn't he?
I don't know.
Where do they build them
That was
Volkswagen?
hamburger stamped on there. I guess that was Hamburg.
Where do they build them Volkswagens?
They build them in Chattanooga.
Okay. Didn't have to send too far then, did he?
Huh?
He didn't have
Well,
to
they
send.
used to build them in Mexico.
And all the Mexicans moved to Chattanooga now.
Right, there
Moved
you
the
go.
plant.
But Obama's got the answer to the immigration problem.
What's that?
He lets the economy get so bad they all go back home.
It works.
Yeah. Of course, you got an influx of people now trying to come over the border and get here in time for amnesty.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's right. And they found enough money to guard the border again.
They what? Borrowed
Yeah,
enough?
found enough.
Did they?
Of course they borrowed it. That's the only place they get money anymore to
Right.
borrow it or print it out of nothing.
Right.
Yeah, they found enough money to guard the border. I mean, it wasn't looking good for them, so they found some money. Beats me. I don't know. I know one thing. If me and you run our business the way the government runs their business, we'd be in jail. Wonder how the...
If we financed our operation like the government finances theirs, we'd be in jail.
I don't see no difference in you and me making funny money and them making funny money.
That's exactly right.
Uh,
I could put this money I'm printing is not backed up by anything.
yeah. We need to find out how many jobs have been incubated. I'd like to hear a status report on that, wouldn't you?
On the incubation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's egg laying season in the spring, so maybe they'll do a little bit more incubation.
Well, I'd really like to know. We ought to be able to get some information on how many jobs have been created, and how
Right.
much money's been spent, and
Right.
how many employees, and I'd like to know how much has been spent on rent and stuff like that, and how much has been spent on employees, yeah, and then how many jobs they've created.
Right, yeah.
That'd be wonderful to know. I bet it'd be akin to the Money Hole Park.
That'd be about like Obama and his Green Initiative. You know, all the money he put into the Green Initiative program probably cost somewhere around $7-8 million per job.
Yeah. And they didn't last till the money run out.
Yeah, and then,
Never did sell nothing. Having to pay to get the stuff hauled off now.
well, I sold some to Campbell County, didn't
Yeah, they got some of them off on them hillbillies that didn't know no better.
right?
No.
I love it. I do. I enjoy. I enjoy it. You know, Charles Manson had it right. Helter skelter, like we're living in. I mean, it's the greatest thing I ever seen.
I
Don't
don't.
nobody know what the hell's going on.
Well, that's right. If you try to think government logically, if you try to think government spending business-wise, you'll lose your mind.
You take the government in this county, it takes in a tremendous amount of money, and we're one of the few counties in the world that during all this housing bubble, our values went up.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Can't beat that. All right, now, what a great place to live. So, our values went up, which made our taxes go up,
Yeah.
you know. And they cannot provide the basic services that they're supposed
Yeah, they had to close
provide.
the dump 3 days a
They had
week.
to close the dump. And I forgot, here I went flying down there today to White Bridge to take my household trash
They're
off.
open today.
Huh?
They're open today.
It was closed when I went down there. Most of the gates were closed.
On Wednesday?
Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, you're right. See, I'd have gone too.
Yeah, all right, they were closed today.
They're closed
So-
on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Then I picked up Elizabeth's trash and I got my
Well, you come
trash.
by a dump out yonder, it's open.
Huh?
That dump out yonder's open.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I had Elizabeth's trash on there and I had my household trash and everything on there. And here I go out there with my vehicle that's got my name on it.
Uh-huh.
And I back up to one of the dumpsters, come running out. Bob, is that commercial trash or is that household trash? I said, well, if you look in here, I said, it looks like to me that's household trash. I said, you got
What vehicle you got with your name on it?
it says Bob's Brook,
Oh, that.
okay. And he said, well, I said, well, what if it would come from there? Well, you got to weigh it and pay for it. I said, well, this you can look and see. I said, here's a bag with sanitary napkins in it. I said, I don't think I sell any used sanitary napkins up there at my place. And, I carried him high there for a while, you know, and, I bet you, while I said there must have been 10 businesses to drive in there and dump their trash. He'd round up the hill and dump it, and I know there were businesses that were doing it. But here, poor Bob, he pulled down. Brooke, I mean, I didn't have that many bags. I had some cardboard boxes that I put in the cardboard box section, and then I had maybe 5 or 6 tall kitchen bags full of trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know if that was from my business or if that was household trash. So, I must stand out like a sore thumb.
I think you do. I ain't gonna run around with you. You get a man put in jail.
Well, man's just doing his job, you know.
No, that ain't gonna keep you and me from going to jail.
No, that we just.
You
doing
got me
his
running around
job.
one of your old trucks like got me put in federal prison down there at Y12.
I mean, when you turn around and walk back to his little building over there, and all them trucks went through there that I know were from businesses. I mean, he was just doing his job.
Yeah. If he'd been doing some of them other jobs. Well.
Yeah, we could really be on the no-fly list right now.
Yeah, we probably are.
Might be on the
Yeah, I ain't flew none. I don't know whether they'd let me or not.
Yeah, we could possibly be on a no-fly list.
Well, I wouldn't have been in Y-12 if they hadn't have told us to come in there so they could search us. I was ready to turn around right where I was at.
And we had a known terrorist in the back seat.
Yeah, and didn't even ask her for who she was or nothing.
They're very thorough.
Hello. Well, that guy, you can tell the way he's acting. He just wanting to fill out a report and get paid.
Kept stealing the wheelbarrows.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just trying to make a report so he'd have something to show he's busy.
I know that, yeah.
There wasn't nothing going on there. That's a crazy thing. We've got so many people who are trying to do something and complicate life just to justify their job.
Justify their job. And, you know.
We shouldn't need, instead of having twice as many people in offices, we ought to have half as many, because you can do 3 times as much with the computers you can do with a pencil.
Right.
But instead of doing that, we've added more things for them to pretend like they're doing something at.
Right, yeah. Well, you know, there's no more trash. In fact, there's less trash during hard times than there is during times of prosperity. Now, they verified that by digging in the silt off the mouth of these rivers, and they can tell you the economic times are by the type of beer cans they find and by the other stuff they find in the trash that's washed out. In other words, during good times, people drink more expensive beer and wine, throw the bottles away, and in hard times, they drink Ripple and
Yeah.
what is that?
Valentine, I guess.
They drink that. And here during these hard times here, you know, the budget's already set there for T-Don, but somehow or another he run out of money.
Well, you know good and well that there ain't no aluminum cans. Ain't near as many aluminum cans make it to the dump as there used to be.
Yeah.
I'd say there ain't as many steel cans make it to the dump as there used
Right.
to. People are buying stuff by 2 liter instead of little something because they get a better deal on it. I can't see why garbage would increase. We ain't got the tourist people in here.
Has not increased. The garbage, I guarantee you, has decreased.
Well, it'd have to, because this ain't even the tourist season.
Sure. People don't flush the commode as much. I'm serious. They do not flush the commode as much. I have cut my water consumption down from about 3 gallons a day to less than a gallon a day.
What do you do? Reuse your bath water?
No, what I did, you know, I built me a 2-holer.
No, okay. That way you can do it at the same time.
No, I tell you, I get a lot of the water that I use from Tank Springs because I like the way my coffee tastes. I like the way my food is cooked in water that does not have the chlorine.
Yeah. Yeah, I got well water for that.
Right. And,
I'm gonna cut my garbage down. I don't have a lot of garbage anymore because it's just me there most of the time. But I'm gonna quit going to the dump. I'm gonna start processing my stuff altogether different.
well,
Just to save fooling with it.
if you will save your metal can, they won't burn anyhow. Now, if you get some, if I'll sell you some goats, they probably could eat them.
Yeah, I was thinking about running them through a goat.
Save your metal can and process them. You can get a few cents out of them. You get 10 cents a pound.
Well, I'm gonna start.
Or about 8 cents a pound now.
I'm gonna start separate. They bring that much for steel cans?
Yeah, it's old cans. Old metal brings.
I'm gonna start separating my steel cans, my aluminum cans, and I'm gonna take my glass jugs. I'm gonna break them.
Right.
And that don't take up much space then.
What, glass?
Yeah.
Well, what I do, get me an old chipper shredder and throw them in there and grind them up and throw it out in the field.
Well, I know. And I'm gonna burn the rest of it.
I would.
Now, of course, I'm gonna run any food products through some sort of an animal if I have to rent one.
Right.
We're gonna rent a hog.
You want to give us a hog together? I want the back part.
I figured you did. Well, that's all right as long as I can have that part up the back and maybe a little side meat.
That's right. We'll get one. We'll dress that. I know how to dress that bugger out, and I've got a big old boiler out the farm I can bring out.
I'd almost go in on that just to get the butchered one. I ain't never butchered one. I saw 'em do it back when I was little, but I never have done it.
Yeah. We got drunk one time butchering.
And we ain't getting drunk. We'll lose our meat.
We cut pork chops, out, and then we couldn't find the tenderloin.
Well, that explains that. Let me tell you what my daddy and uncle done one time. They was going to get up early and butcher this hog,
Right.
so they could get it over with and then go to work.
Right.
So, of course, they didn't have a clock,
Right.
and they went to bed at daylight. Was going to get a good head start on resting because they're going to get up and butcher the hog. So they got up, and the moon was just shining bright. And they got out and shot the hog and built the fire and went working and never did get daylight. Well, finally, they had a clock somewhere, and they went and looked at it. It's 12 o'clock. He said they got that hog butchered and ready to go by 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, what'd you do? And he said, well, we just made some coffee and went on to work.
Oh yeah. We used to butcher them. We would raise somewhere around 60 hogs on my daddy's farm.
Yeah.
And then he would buy every hog he could get anywhere in that area, and then we'd butcher all of them at one time.
What did you feed 60 hogs, and how in the world did you take care of all of them at once?
Those hogs?
Yeah.
We had a wagon we carried the food down there on.
What was it? Corn?
Well, we had grain ground for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then my daddy, this was mainly during the Second World War, had a real long trailer, about as long as that you haul tin on, with sides on it and everything. He must have, I don't know how many barrels he carried on there. He had a trailer hitch on that 37 Chevrolet, just a regular Chevrolet. It wasn't a Master or anything, just old cheap two-door sedan. And he went around to all of the restaurants in Greensboro and emptied their slop into those barrels when he got off work.
Well, how did you process 60 hogs all at one time?
Wait a minute. Let me tell you, I'll get to that, but you asked me about the food.
I know, but I
Right
don't
now,
want to
he
go
would-
off
he
before I
would
find
take-
out.
He would take, and we boys, we kept enough wood cut. He boiled all that, my daddy, he boiled all that food before he fed it to his hogs. And he strained out all the silverware, and Lord, we had more case knives and spoons and forks that come out of those restaurants, and we'd give them away to neighbors and everything. But that mix that in with the ground feed that he had. Now, how did we process all those? We must have been 15 acres in our backyard. Everybody in the community, especially the black community, would come and bring their boards and their books and their scalding trough, and I would have wood piled at every one of those tables for them to scald them hogs. Well, Dad not only bought the hogs from them, but for them doing it, he'd give them the head, the feet, the lights, and the lard, and some other stuff, because all he basically...
What do you do with the lights?
Huh?
What do you do with the lights?
They eat them.
What do you make out of them?
I guess you fry them. I don't know. I really don't. I've never eaten any like
They
somebody
always-
might call in
They
deli.
always threw them away.
But I basically, my job at about 10 years old was to keep, I had a wheelbarrow, and man, I kept that thing hot, hauling wood to those fires, because they get one scalded, they'd be ready to put another one in there, and process more. But we had a smokehouse. My daddy cured the hams and cured the shoulders and sold them to the federal government. we'd stay up all night long, 1 or 2, maybe 3 nights, making sausage.
Did you work in the daytime too?
Oh yeah, all night long, all day long, and we'd take that sausage to Greensboro, North Carolina, and peddle it. We'd peddle all that meat and sausage and everything throughout Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd take all the hams and the shoulders in there, and he would salt and sugar cure them.
Mm-hmm.
And hickory smoke them.
Yeah.
Had a little old what we call a tin stove in there. You know, it wasn't a thick metal old tin stove. And we'd put hickory wood in there, and it was built where it would just, you go in there, you'd have to take a big breath before you go in there when you had that thing going. If not, you'd choke to death on the smoke. And let me just, I'll never forget, my daddy was tight, and Mama wanted some $12 to buy a warm-up jacket for my older brother, who was a pretty good ball player, pretty good athlete, and Daddy didn't have no $12, so Mama went out there and got her one of them hams, carried over to the store and sold it for $24, and got him a warm-up jacket and put 12 in her pocket.
Yeah, that's all right.
So,
Well, I don't
I've
know.
seen some interesting things in my life, and you know, life, I make them act like I complain a lot, you know. I don't really complain, even this deal on the policeman. To me, that's just another adventure that I've been through, you know, and I don't mind telling things like I see it, you know. And I think it's absolutely, utterly ridiculous to have to get yourself in a position where you got so many people on the police department, they got to sit around and wait for people to make some minor mistake or have some equipment failure or something on their automobile.
Well, I think you're about right, Bobby T. Looks like we've about to the end of another wonderful and exciting session. We'll be on the television and the internet tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Go to UGG TV like you did tonight, or go to
That's
12
UGGTV.tv.
yeah, UGGTV.tv, or go to channel 12.
Or go to LaPollockNews.com.
Yeah, that's where we go, something like that too. So
Or
happy
you could
trip.
go to HillbillyTV.tv.
I don't believe that'll work anymore. I ain't got that. I might have a link there. Folks, we appreciate you watching us, and we're glad you just remember our sponsors and don't get mad at them.
Right, or
Patronize
if you
them.
want to email, it's BTAWalkabout28 at yahoo.com.
Or Bob at hillbilly.tv.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to him. You got an awful long address.
Huh?
You got an awful long
My
address.
email
Yeah,
at BTA
yeah. At?
Walkabout28 at yahoo.com.
Why you got all that?
That's what I wanted.
Walkabout?
Yeah. I'm Australia, no chap.
I'm sitting here with a kangaroo and didn't know it.
Do a walkabout, old chap?
I'm sitting here with a kangaroo, short of the world. A former hog skinner. Good night, folks.
See you.